Yes guys, welcome back to the channel, welcome back to a brand new video. This is your Arsenal starting 11 versus Liverpool this weekend. We take them on Sunday at the Emirates Stadium. It's a game that really means a lot to the team and a lot to the manager as well. We need to bounce back from the two losses in the festive season against Fulham and against West Ham. And Mikel Arteta said, look, you look at every game, you take it game per game. If you lose one game, you focus on the next one. Liverpool at the Emirates Stadium in the FA Cup is our next fixture. Do you think we can win it? A couple of players won't be featuring in this one, including Takero Tomiyasu, who has actually joined up with Japan for the Asian Cup. Mo Salah on the other side won't be there, so probably there is no big problem. If they don't have Salah and we don't have Tomiyasu, it is kind of a cancellation, for both teams. But I want to know, who do you think should drop among the players that are actually not performing well in the team? Martinelli is off form, Saka is off form, Ben White is off form as well. So let me know, which players do you think should be starting in this game and which players do you think should be dropped courtesy of their very, very poor form? Right, so let's get into it. In goal, I've seen a few suggestions going for Aaron Ramsdale. It is not a game that I would risk Ramsdale. It's not about goalkeeper, but I still think at the moment David Raya is the goalkeeper at Arsenal we should be trusting. So I'm going to go with David Raya for one reason: we need our best 11. I'm not rotating. There is no bigger fish to fry like last campaign. I mean, last campaign we had the luxury of going. We don't want to win the Europa League. We don't want to win the FA Cup. We are focusing on the Premier League. It is as early as January, and I'm telling you, Arsenal are known real title contenders for the Premier League. We are not even sure if we can get some big signings in January. So what that actually does, it means that you can focus on these other peripheral trophies. The FA Cup, sadly we were knocked out of the Carabao Cup, but that would have been a very great starting point for us to win. But listen, FA Cup, we have got the legends, we have got the pedigree in the competition, and we've won it under Mikel Arteta. We've won it the most number of times. This could be the time, right? So David Raya against Liverpool, I'm still very skeptical about David Raya's goalkeeping, especially ever since he came in at Arsenal. I think it was David Ornstein who was saying that he's not really settled in very well as a new Arsenal goalkeeper. And you look at the swap between him and Ramsdale, and you're going to question, is he better than Ramsdale? Is he saving more points for Arsenal than Aaron Ramsdale did last campaign? At the moment, I'm going to say no, because with Ramsdale last season, we were still in the title conversation. It is halfway the campaign, and Arsenal are almost out of the title conversation with David Raya. But of course, it's not his fault that Arsenal are out of the title race. It is the fault of the team collectively and the manager as well. So at in defense, we have a problem. We have a massive shortage at right back and left back. Ben White has been playing with something niggling him, according to John Crossmira, but I'm afraid we are still going to play Ben at right back. It's a very, very difficult decision for Mikel Arteta, I know, because you don't want to play your best players while they're injured, as you have very important games coming up. But then what do? He's the only guy available. Takero Tomiyasu has gone for the Japan Asian Cup, and therefore you have nothing to do about that. I like Ben White as a center back. I'm really not sure I like him as a right back. I'm not really sure he's the kind of player that gives you that defensive assurance 1v1 against the top wingers. And we talked about him today in the Jeremy Frimpong story, and I actually said you would rather give me Jeremy Frimpong, who is a very mobile right back, because I know he's a natural right back. But anyway, Ben White will be possibly going head to head 1v1 either against Luis Diaz, which is actually like kind of a nightmare for any winger, for any right back and full back, or he might be going 1v1 against either Cody Gakpo or Diogo Jota, or probably Nunes, right? If it goes against Nunes has got the speed and he is very energetic, so there's a problem there. If it goes against Cody Gakpo, I'm not really afraid of Cody Gakpo. My problem with Ben White, does he have the ability and the intelligence a player like Cody Gakpo has? Because Gakpo doesn't really take you on 1v1, but what he does, he will be ghosting into space, and if you're not really clever and careful, he's going to leave you behind. So Ben White at right back, that is what I would go for. We don't have so many options there. Cedric is not an option for me. Now at left back, I'm going to leave this space blank. Honestly, I do not know who plays there. I don't have an option. Zinchenko is injured, and according to Mikel Arteta, we might not see him until the 20th of January when we take on Crystal Palace. I don't want Jakub Kiwior there. Like, to be honest, I don't want Jakub Kiwior there. But we don't have options. We don't have as many options as Liverpool, who have Robertson, Tsimikas, a couple of other players. We are not Manchester City as well. Timber is injured. It's a difficult situation, right? So I'm just going to put Kiwior there, but it's not a position I've actually nailed on. I want your thoughts there in the comment box below. Who should be representing Arsenal, in this game at left back, right? Because that is where you have Luis Diaz. I'm really, really sure. You have Luis Diaz there, but then you also have the electric Harvey Elliott. That is another problem. Harvey Elliott against Jakub Kiwior. I don't want to see that nightmare. Luis Diaz against Jakub Kiwior. Don't give me that as well, right? So let me know. Let me know what we should do. At centre back, it's the same. We are going to go with Gabriel and Saliba. Now, those two, in the last two games, they've got to ask themselves a couple of questions, and they need to find answers as quick as possible. And the answers must be correct, and they should also be, very, very precise. We have struggled at the back, right? And that is not because Arsenal as a team has, crumbled. The two centre backs who are actually very, very good and who have been the reason as to why we're winning games 1-0, 2-1, they've somehow crumbled under the pressure. We can't afford that, right? If they think in the library there is a word luxury, and that luxury means that the word luxury means Arsenal having their centre backs not doing well, that is the wrong definition of the word luxury, and they should delete it at the moment. We are really, really reliant on them. The attack is not working. The midfield seems to lose every battle against any team right now, and therefore I still think Liverpool will have a very good shift at the Emirates Stadium. I'm going to say Arsenal need the defense more than ever. Again, it's not the first time we've said this. It's not the first time we have seen this. Every single time, it has been our defense to the rescue. And our defense failing a little bit, we've not picked up points. Against FC Lens, we did not. Against Fulham home and away, we did not, right? So we've got to do much better defensively. Now, in midfield, we have a few scumbags who think that Declan Rice is not playing well. He's actually playing well, right? It's just that the team is failing as a whole. So I still want to see him right there at the heart of the midfield. He's been a phenomenal signing and an absolute monster in this team. I tell you, Declan Rice has performed an 8 out of 10 performance every single time he's been out there. At the Anfield, unplayable. When we played West Ham, even when he actually caused a late night penalty, I thought he was okay. When we played Nottingham Forest, unbelievable. Sheffield, Fulham, all these games, he's actually been very good. But he needs that extra point, that extra support. You can't put Kai Havertz and Odegaard, to attack, and then Declan Rice is left hanging. It's why we had signed Jelen Timber, but then the manager has to understand that if plan A doesn't work, you've got to find another plan, and that plan could be plan B, and that could be the reason that it actually works out. So this is what I suggest, right? It's a suggestion. Instead of playing Kai Havertz and Martin Odegaard, this is what I would say. On the left-hand side of this midfield, how about we try Martin Odegaard in his natural number 8 position, right? He's so good in number 10. He's so good at right 8. But what if we try him in the left 8? And look, I think you already see where I'm going with this, because that means that we can accommodate a player like Emil Smith. Wow. And again, this is a very, very brave from me. Honest, it's very, very brave for me. I don't think Mikel Arteta is this brave. I don't think Mikel Arteta is willing to actually go, I'm going to play something against Liverpool that I've not played before. I'm not really sure. But again, one of the reasons as why Arsenal are easy to beat and why we are losing games that we should be winning we are very predictable. We are being very predictable. Clubs can actually come to the Emirates Stadium and predict our pattern of play. They can easily know Saka on the right and Martinelli on the left. They are inverted wingers. They're going to cut in. Martin Odegaard will try to find spaces for Saka to run into, and Alexander Zinchenko will try to find spaces for Gabriel Martinelli to pass into. So that means that when you close those spaces down and you also double up on Saka and Martinelli, Arsenal's game plan is over. Not really, because I have a solution, and that solution is Emil Smith Rowe. So the ability of Emil Smith Rowe on the ball is absolutely phenomenal. He's got the ability to carry it around, but his dribbling is next level. Actually, last season, but one, that was 2021-2022, Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher agreed on something, finally. And the agreement was on Emil Smith Rowe, and there was no player at the moment, including Jack Grealish and Bernardo Silva, that was carrying the ball more successfully in an entertaining way and effective way than Emil Smith Rowe. He was being an absolute gem on the ball, and we can confirm that bowling ability is actually not gone, but it's just about the injury that he suffered across the last 2 years. If you take away the injury across the last 1.5 years or 2 years, he's a much better player. We know that. But why do I want Emil in this team? I think every Arsenal player has something in common, and that is the work ethic. These guys work hard. Emil Smith Rowe, no one is going to chat to me. No one is going to tell me that Emil doesn't really work hard. He works hard off the ball and also on the ball. And he's one of the players that are really hungry. One thing I noticed with Arsene Wenger and Alexander Ferguson when they were still, managers at their peak. When a player didn't play well, there was always a player on the sidelines waiting to get into the team, right? So there were times where you had Vasil Abu Diabe, coming back from injury, but then you had either Flamini or you either had Alexander Sangbilong in the team. So if one was not playing well, you were sure you're going to see a change, right? There's a time when Lucas Podolski and Giroud were both at Arsenal. So Olivier Giroud was not scoring the goals. He was literally letting us down. So what the manager did then, he actually dropped Olivier Giroud and started Lucas Podolski, who was playing more like a 10 initially, and dropped him as a number 9. So Santiago Cazorla and Mesut Ozil became the true creative players in the midfield. And that actually worked out, because when Olivier Giroud came back in the team, he was scoring goals. He was not really scoring goals, the goals that you expect, but he was a much better player, I should say. So I think that is what Emil Smith Rowe would bring to this team. Hunger and desperateness. Is it desperacy or desperateness, right? The kind of player that wants to prove a point. That kind of player that wants to come back in this side and prove to the manager, hey, I'm this good. Probably I've not actually had enough time to introduce myself, but this is how good I am. And then the goal scoring problem. Because Emil Smith Rowe, we're going to talk about this on the Cossy podcast, the goal scoring problem. But Emil Smith Rowe, 10 goals in the 2021-2022 campaign. You can't be keeping him on the bench and you claim you are a serious manager. You are an absolute joke, obviously. So what Arsenal should do for me is get Emil Smith Rowe, add him to that midfield. He is a goal-minded player. He's a goal-scoring midfielder, and that much we know. And he will provide Arsenal with another attacking threat that clubs have to deal with. Therefore, you can't double up on Saka, double up on Martinelli, and double up on Emil Smith Rowe. You don't have an infinity of players. You actually have a limited number of players, which is 11 on the pitch. So let me know what you think about my reasoning there. Is it good or is it absolutely, nonsense? Okay, let's get to the forward line, because I need a few tweaks and turns as well. Now, NKETIAH and Gabriel Jesus will not do the job. I'm telling you right about here as I, record this one. And by the time it comes out, you will know why. Now, Kai Havertz, for me, up top. Put him up top. He's got the aerial ability and he's got the goal scoring threat that no Arsenal player in front has at the moment, right? So he's already scored 4. That means that you're sure when a good quality chance bounces onto his foot, he might actually put it away, right? So Kai Havertz up top, in my opinion. On the left-hand side, I think it is time for us to drop Gabriel Martinelli and give him some time to rest. He will come back a much better player. He will come back in a very, very, fresh way. So Gabriel Jesus to replace Saka and Saka to replace Gabriel Martinelli. This is something we have not seen, and this is something no club expects from Arsenal. Like, no one expects us to put Saka in his natural position and to put Jesus on the right hand side. We've got to tweak it a little bit, right? We've got to make it unpredictable, and Mikel Arteta knows this. If you want to make it stick, if you want to make it work, then you'd rather make it unpredictable. So the front three that we have here means that you have more of a number 9 in Kai Havertz, who can drop in the midfield naturally because he is a midfielder. And you also have a Gabriel Jesus that won't occupy the goal scoring positions in the box because he's naturally a drifter away from the box rather than a drifter in. So do you get what I'm talking about? That means that there is enough space for Odegaard and Emil Smith Rowe to arrive in, and they could be the game changers in this game. They don't have Szoboszlai, they don't have Salah, and therefore Arsenal have to pounce on this opportunity as quick and as good as we can. Because if it's a draw, it ends up going to the Anfield for a replay. We don't want that. I'm telling you. It will be increasing the number of games that we will be playing, but then also it will be... It doesn't make any sense for us to actually, want it to go to the Anfield, and it's a ground where we don't win. It's a ground where we don't stand a chance for me, especially the way we are playing this season. So this is my starting 11. Let me know what you think about it and drop yours in the comment box below.